Well, it is a family member's worst nightmare, finally making the decision to put their loved one into a nursing home only to find they're being abused or neglected. Nursing home neglect cases are unique because it's hard to prove if the incident was actually an accident or the result of an ongoing, even bigger problem. And that's when professionals like attorney Jim Higgins and his team come into play. They know what to look for and how to proceed with that case. And Jim's joining us this afternoon with more. Jim, welcome back to More at Midday.
Thank you.
We have to first begin by saying there are lots of great nursing homes out there, wonderful facilities, but then there are some really bad ones as well.
Right, which is true just in any industry. You know, there's good and bad.
All right, now we're going to begin. How does the Higgins Firm investigate a nursing home neglect case itself? Where do you all begin? What do you do? What are you looking for?
Well, when someone comes in, something's happened, and a lot of times they just want those answers. So the first thing we're going to do a lot of times is we'll order a chart from the home, we'll talk to the family, we'll talk to maybe other witnesses, and we try to find out, hey, was this just an unfortunate accident, something that just happened, or was it something more? Is it the product of neglect or somebody not getting the just basic care that they deserved? And so once we find the answer to that, then we try to dig a little deeper and find out if it wasn't an accident, why it happened, what was it the product of?
What was really behind it? Now, what about the costs that are involved in pursuing this type of case? Because I would imagine that could get quite hefty.
Oh, yes. You know, when we take on a case, I mean, that is something that we realize is happening. They are very expensive cases to litigate. You generally have to hire your experts. A lot of times we have to hire doctors and nurses to review charts, to give opinions. The cost of depositions, they are expensive cases. But in general, most lawyers who handle these cases, like our firm, we do it on a contingency basis. And part of that is it's our obligation to front all those costs, and we do not collect those costs unless you win the case. If it is a case that you don't succeed on, it's not something that the family has to worry about.
Okay, how long does a nursing home abuse or neglect case take itself? Because I wouldn't imagine that it's a real short situation. This is something that could go, what, maybe for years even?
Yes, we've had these cases last for years, and that's a talk we always have with the family at the beginning. Is we let them know what's involved in these cases, how long they can take, because if you want to do it, if you're going to pursue it, you have to leave no stone unturned. You really have to dig in, and so we have to make sure that the family's ready for that and that they want to go through that, because it can be painful sometimes to go through and have this process go out for a long period of time. So when we get into these cases, we have to kind of get into it as a team with the family, and they have to know that they're in it for the long haul.
Right. Are there any specifics that you can give folks or examples? At what point should they feel, okay, it's time to contact a lawyer? We need to get someone else involved with what's happening.
Yeah, that's such a hard question, and I will say that, you know, by the time we take a case, it's too late. Something horrible has happened. So what I always tell folks is that if you suspect something, if you're worried something, you start talking immediately. You should go to the nursing home, talk to them, talk to the director of nursing, talk to the administrator, and, you know, whatever the problem is, hopefully you can resolve it at that point before you ever have to get to my office.
Do these types of cases, do you see many of them in your office? Is this a pretty prominent situation, a big problem?
Well, yes. I mean, any amount of it is obviously a problem, and I guess because we do a significant amount of it, we see a lot of these cases. We have them across the state and in other states that we pursue. So I may see more in my office than others, but we see a disturbing amount of them.
Yeah, and too often, you all get the information too late, unfortunately. Yeah. Any advice you want to leave our folks at home with? What do they need to know? What should they be doing?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just to, as much as you can, be a part of that loved one's life. You go to the home often. You go at different times. You make sure they know you there. And that is the biggest thing you can do, is go there as often as you can.
Be proactive, certainly. Jim Higgins, it's always great to see you.
You too.
Thank you for all your tips and advice, legal expert. Hey, you can reach the Higgins Law Firm by giving them a call. We have that phone number. Again, it's the Higgins Firm. The phone number is 615-353-0930, or log on to the More at Midday section of our website. Check that out at WSMV.com for a link to their website.